The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for another Ledgeview Partners webinar. I don't know about you, but this holiday season, I'm especially grateful for hot coffee on cold days like this in Wisconsin. This is our last webinar of 2018. Can you believe it? I know I can't, but it's been a true pleasure to host so many this year, and I look forward to more in the new year. I'm Julia Flaherty, Ledgeview Partners Marketing Coordinator. For those of you that are unfamiliar with us, though I see a few familiar faces have tuned in, we are a business and technology consulting company who partners with organizations to transform sales, marketing, and customer service operations and processes that are supported by core technologies, including customer relationship management and marketing automation. The experts at Ledgeview help our clients to achieve their unique business goals with a solution that's specific to their organization's needs. As a marketer, you know that there's no one-size-fits-all business, so there's never a one-size-fits-all solution, right? That's probably one of the reasons you tuned in today. You have this awareness and want to expand upon it with today's exciting featured topic, lead nurturing and automated campaigns. Creating personalized experiences is so beneficial to the customer journey, but I will let Jodie Gilroy, Senior Business Analyst at Ledgeview Partners, dive into that shortly. Before I let her take over, I'm going to ask you to bear with me here as I go over a few quick housekeeping notes. This webinar is being recorded and will be available on demand after the live session. We'll be taking up about 30 minutes of your time today, so after we finish up, be sure to check your inboxes for a message from Ledgeview. If you haven't already, add us to your safe senders list to be sure you receive that email and are able to share it within your professional networks. If you don't know how to do that, we do have a blog post that explains how to, and I'd love to send it to you. Just send us a message in the question pane of your GoToWebinar control panel, which is where you can ask other questions you may have today. We have everyone on listen-only mode as usual, so if you do have a question and it doesn't get answered during the live session, we'll be sure to follow up with you afterwards. Another thing I encourage you to do is to check out our wide array of resources at ledgeviewpartners.com after today's session. We publish hundreds of blog posts this year, over 40 infographics, and more than 20 ebooks on a variety of different topics to help you solve common challenges, gain insight, and much more. And now that you know more about Ledgeview, it's time to welcome Jodie Gilroy, who is a true marketing guru. Jodie, I've said enough, so I'll hand it right over to you to give these lovely people what they really came here for today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Julia. Welcome to our second webinar called Marketing Technology Minutes. Today we are going through the same cadence as we did last time, but on a new topic. So we're going to introduce the topic today, talk a little bit strategy through PowerPoint, and today's topic is nurture campaigns or automated campaigns or drip campaigns or whatever the terminology is, but the output is the same. We'll talk through some strategies, some terminology around that, and then also talk about best practice recommendations. And then we're going to set up 3 different platforms head-to-head to kind of look at how they accomplish nurture campaigns within their tool set. So first of all, what is a nurture campaign? You know, again, there's a lot of terminology around it, but really what it means is you are nurturing a customer or a potential customer through their customer journey, right? So you're looking at where they are in the buying cycle. You're looking at who they are, maybe their role, maybe their industry, their characteristics, and it's especially where they are in the buying process. And you're aligning content and communications or sales touch points throughout that cycle to stay engaged with them. So that illustration that I have here kind of shows that model. You have a product or a service. You have a target audience, you know, a group of people that you want to reach. But your communications, you know, the one blast email to everyone just really does not work and not best practice any longer. Instead, we have to look at what the buyer is telling you. What are the signals? So maybe they downloaded an ebook. Maybe they attended one of your webinars like you are today. Maybe they've taken the action of requesting a quote. Those people, those interactions indicate buying signals, but not necessarily ready for purchasing at any point in time. Maybe the request a quote's a little bit further along, right, than the download an ebook. So we essentially take these individuals and their behaviors and we put them into buckets. Are they marketing qualified? Are they sales qualified? And we nurture them accordingly. Again, the takeaway here is you nurture against where they are in the buying cycle. So let's talk about a few statistics about nurturing and why is it beneficial to an organization. Nurturing is in the first statistic here. Leads who are nurtured with targeted content produce 20% increase in sales opportunities. Not surprising. You're talking to a buyer in a targeted manner based on their buying cycle, so it's relevant. So you're going to see an uptick in sales. Businesses that use marketing automation to nurture prospects experience a 451% increase in qualified leads, and nurtured leads make 47% larger purchases. Why? Again, you're not having sales engage on those early stages, right? Downloading an ebook doesn't necessarily ready to buy, so you're working them, you're telling them more about your organization, you're positioning product, positioning content to them that is relevant, getting them sticky to your organization before you pass them off to sales. They're further down the funnel. So that is increasing your conversion rates. Lead nurturing emails get 4 to 10 times the response rate compared to standard email blasts alone. This is because you're targeting them and you're giving them that relevant content that they need in that cycle. So I found this quote, and I think it really articulates why and what lead nurturing does. It says, automated buyer progression, not just emails. Great marketing automation requires smart segmentation of buyers, reading buying signals, and then acting upon those signals. So in other words, doing automatically at scale what a marketer would do if they had time, right? If we could really lay this out and every day come in and decide, oh, what am I going to send today to this group, that we just don't have the time as marketers to do this. So nurturing campaigns, campaign automation allows you to do this at scale using data and using the technology to execute on it. Okay, so there's many types of nurturing methods that could be deployed. Let's talk about a few. They don't necessarily line up here to the illustration, but I want to talk through a few potential methods that you could use. The first is nurturing leads before they're handed over to the sales team for follow-up. So I've alluded to this a little bit. So if someone downloads a white paper on your website, does this automatically mean that the lead should be passed to sales for follow-up? Or better yet, does this mean the customer is ready to engage with a member of your sales team? Not necessarily. But what if they downloaded a white paper, visited your product page and pricing page, attended a webinar, and engaged with an email regarding purchasing your product? Well, now this sounds like they may be a little far further into the buying journey than the first scenario, and that lead may be ready to talk to the member of the sales team. You can be nurturing along and pushing them through the sales funnel to all those other engagement points with nurturing strategies. The second strategy for nurturing leads is, again, showing how marketing and sales can work with one another. Let's say a member of your sales team does make contact with a lead and finds out they're not ready to purchase for another 6 months. You know, the sales team could put this customer back into a nurture campaign developed by the marketing team and re-engage in another 6 months. I think one of the major mistakes that companies make is not marketing to their non-sales ready leads. The customer has shown an interest, but they're not ready to purchase. So instead of leaving that communication cold for 6 months, how about including them in a nurture campaign? If you have your marketing automation and your CRM system connected, you can enable your sales team to assign a lead or contact in a nurture campaign directly from CRM. Okay, then the third and final strategy I'll just touch upon today is is nurturing customers who have purchased and who you want to re-engage, repeat sales opportunities. You know, while most of the conversation thus far is focused on leads, there's much opportunity to gain additional business or incremental sales with your existing customers. If you're selling widgets, you know, the lead nurturing campaign may focus on accessories for that widget or a replacement product once the product is nearing its predicted life expectancy. again, if you take a CRM and a market automation tool and connect them, and you have sales data in there that provides data that informs marketing on what the customer purchased, and then they can take that and set up these upsell, cross-sell, re-engagement type campaigns through lead nurturing. So in this illustration above, I sourced this from ActOn, but it shows this. It shows the different strategies based on where the consumer is, and then an alignment of appropriate communications based on their buying cycle or their buying stage. So in order to do this at scale, you need technology, and there's ample applications out in the marketplace today. The execution of these types of initiatives does work best when you have a CRM and a market automation tool tied together and working together, because you really can pull off those buying signals from sales and pass the marketing signals to sales. So while we're focusing, and I'll just hear in a short bit, on technologies that work within Microsoft Dynamics CRM or with them, there are applications that work with Salesforce as well. So for those of you on the call that are Salesforce customers, that is certainly something that this theory, this methodology applies as well. But you're going to start seeing tools like Pardot, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and a tool that we'll showcase today, ActOn, that works both in Dynamics and Salesforce. Okay, so here is today's matchup. We have ActOn, ClickDimensions, and the new D365 marketing application released by Microsoft. We're going to take a quick look inside of each of these applications. We're not going to be able to do an in-depth training by any means. It's supposed to be a short little technology minute session. So I'm just going to give you a glimpse, give you an idea of how these platforms handle nurture campaigns so you can get a feel for multiple tools. All right, and the first one we're going to look at today is ActOn. So give me a second here to switch my screen and pull up the ActOn environment. Okay, so hopefully everyone is seeing that. I am in the ActOn marketing automation tool. ActOn sits outside of, like I said, Dynamics or Salesforce with a connector to those applications to derive data from the CRM or push data into the CRM for your sales teams. We're not going to get into that today from a technology standpoint, but that's how the tool works. So I am in ActOn, and I am in their automation tool, and I'm essentially doing an automated program. So again, nurture campaign, drip campaign, campaign builder, automated program, lots of terminology, but really meaning the same thing. A series of communications sent to a target audience with a desirable outcome. All right. So I threw a couple in here. Let's take an example of a webinar promotion. We'll go into that one first. Okay. So when you come into ActOn, you just do some basic setup within here. You name your program. You can add your source list, although you can do that over here in this tab as well. And you set your schedule. Do you want this campaign to run daily, weekly, monthly, or manually? So maybe we're going to run this one daily. So basically, it's going to start at a certain point, and then it's going to continuously look for new program entrants and continue to run this consistently, okay? And this sets your date time. From there, you decide, what communications, what messages will be used within this. So within their program setup, you set up your email template, and then you simply select it here to include in the program. Of course, we need a target. So you will, again, define your marketing list or your segment that you want to outreach to. So, you can have one list, multiple lists, but essentially, what is the criteria for this campaign, for this webinar promotion? Who do we want to include? We set up that segment and attach it to the program. And then this is really where the magic happens. This is the program flow. Here is a series of steps and communications that we want to send out to that target audience and the behaviors that we want to look for throughout. So over here are the different widgets that you can add into your campaign. So you have, a calendar option. So when do you want to start this? the send email, and this is all just drag and drop into the application. You go ahead and pick your email that you want to send. It's as simple as pull in all the program templates that you've identified, or you can add a new one in from here. You can add conditional A/B test messages too, if that's part of it. In all the tools, you'll see wait timers. These are very important. So this is where you can control the number of emails going out and the times in between your communications. So again, you just drag and drop that, and then you can set the durations into minutes, hours, days, weeks, and you can just go ahead and name that step and define your criteria around that. So in this instance, I'm sending out an email. I'm waiting 2 weeks. I want to wait till a specific time and send another communication out. This is an invitation to an event I'm hosting. I'm going to wait another week, and then I'm going to look at something. This is called branching, and the branching is, again, you just drag and drop that in. It's conditional. It's saying to the system, I want you to look to see if the people that were on my list that I sent this original communication out, have they registered for my event? If they have, go ahead and move them down this series, during the A series. If not, move them down the B series. Those type of customers need different communications, the one that did register and the one that did not. So this is an opportunity to branch out your audiences, further segment and set targeted communications. And this can go on and on and on as appropriate. They also have what's called early exit conditions. So you can say, remove someone from this program if they meet this criteria. If they were added to a list, if they have a field change, etc., that all can be added in here. Now there is some other functionality that can be added in, like add a task. So maybe during these steps you want to notify your sales team that somebody has reached this step in the nurture campaign. You can handle that through these controls here. All right, so that is ActOn. I had a couple others in here, but the idea is the same. Let's say you have a new customer welcome campaign. Again, you go through that same cadence of defining, the frequency of the send, the messages, the list, and then your program flow. So, new customer welcome campaigns are a great application for nurtures. You have a new customer that's been identified. You maybe have a series of communications about using your product that is very relevant to onboard them. You can handle this through a nurture campaign so they get that sequencing of communications, education to onboard them quicker, but in an automated way. All right. So the next tool we're going to look at in comparison is ClickDimensions. So I'm going to flip screens here. Now, ClickDimensions, if you haven't ever seen this tool before, it is an embedded solution into your Dynamics 365 environment. So you add the solution, it adds the new entities in here, and you operate ClickDimensions from within the tool. So ClickDimensions has multiple functionality within it, but the one we're focusing on today is campaign automation, or nurture campaigns, right? So when you click on that, you come up with a screen here to kind of name your nurture, etc., and you basically open the builder, and I already pre-populated that. So today we're looking at a trade show nurture campaign built out in ClickDimensions. Very nice, drag and drop editor here as well, with triggers, actions, and timers, and series that you can set up. So essentially, you will come in, and you can see I pre-built this, but I did an add to list. So I can pick here, I want everybody that attended my trade show, so I've uploaded this, tagged them as such, and then I will come in here and pick my marketing list that is appropriate. And then I have a series of communications. So again, they have this series functionality where you can come in and define what are those items that you want to send. So I want to send a thank you email, wait 3 days, and then send my product interest email. Okay, I'm going to cancel that. Then, just like the other tool, right, I want to look for a behavior. So in this case, I want to see, was there an email clicked within, or a link clicked within that email series that I sent? So I can define that. I can say email clicked, and then I can define, after I pick my email template, which one do I want it to look at. I can say, was the email clicked? And then I can actually go through and say, what within the email do I want to look for? Maybe it was a product, a particular product, etc. That they clicked on or did not click on. So if they did click on it, I'm going to send them down this series. They did not click on it, this series, and this just continues. And you can see here there's different patterns that can happen based on the behaviors. Notify sales, do a newsletter sign up, send the catalog email, remove from list, and then we end the series over here at a certain duration of time. So lots of controls in here. You can see you can set off a campaign based on somebody submitting a form, submitting a subscription, a survey. We have the email interaction piece, registering for an event or attending an event, and then the list pieces as well. And similar to ActOn, there's some nice action controls here. Send an email. I can add people to a list when they reach a certain stage in the series. I can assign it to CRM, assign it to an owner, notify a user, notify a CRM team, about an action. I can create a campaign response. And if you're using SMS technology, you can even send an SMS message through this communication. And then they have their timers. I can do wait timers or set an actual date on when to send something out. So lots of cool features within here. And then what it will do is as you deploy this, you can see who is in the campaign and pause and stop them, as well as there will be statistics that show up showing the people that have flowed through the campaign at various points in time. All right. So we're going to close out of that one. And our final item or technology to look at today is D365 marketing. Again, this is a brand new tool released by Microsoft that again works within the Dynamics 365 environment. It is an add-on tool, but it offers you, email functionality, bulk email functionality, being able to do these type of nurture campaigns, customer segmentation. They have some form functionality, somewhat limited yet in its application, but it is coming along. So the one we're going to look at here is the Contoso launch and follow-up journey. And you're going to start to see some similarities for sure between the tools. This is the designer that it's launching. And if you happen to work in the back end of Dynamics 365 at all, this is like the flow functionality that is set up. So it is a drag and drop editor again. So you drag and drop, let's say, a segment. So these are the people that I want to reach, and I have defined what my segment is, in this case, U.S. clients. I will drag and drop to send an email message, and then I will pick the email that I want to send. And these are components within the email. They have a landing page and an event registration that is tied to that email message. And then it's looking for a trigger. Did they register for the event? And that's why that component is included in here, because it has to know, did they submit that event registration form? If they did, great. We're going to send them down the one series. If not, we're going to send them down another. So this goes, on and on again until it is appropriate to just go ahead and end that campaign for them. So this was a good example. If they had an event registration, and instead of continuing asking them to sign up for the event, they've stopped that communication because they have submitted it, and instead they're going to send a reminder email closer to the event. Where here they're still trying to work somebody through to get them signed up. Here as well, this is where you set up some of the general criteria, and then as you launch these campaigns, there's insights that will display, showing you how your campaign is performing, and so you can make decisions based on that. Of is this a good campaign? Would we want to tweak some things, etc. Obviously, I don't have this as a draft campaign, so it's not here. But this gives you an idea of what analytics would be available to you. All right, so we are at the stage of wrapping up here. Let me just pull up my PowerPoint really quick to give you some final wrap-up items. So if you are, intrigued by this, or maybe doing it, have just done a little bit of it, want to enhance your efforts, to really win at nurture campaigns, you need the following. You need to provide a personalized series of relevant content over time. So that needs to be built. There's no doubt about it. This is kind of a big deal, is building the appropriate content based on your buying cycle, based on your buyer personas. Use the CRM and marketing automation tool to capture data to tailor your messaging. This is where it's ideal if you can get sales data passing into your marketing automation tool and marketing automation tool passing back to your sales team in their CRM. Segment with context. So that branching functionality is so key. As people are moving through the campaign, they will do different things. So account for that and move them down different paths accordingly. Include marketing automation beyond email. So a lot of people think, well, this is just email communication, but there's so many other applications for that. Sales alerts, task assignments to really engage your sales team in the process based on where the buyer is and what they're doing. Analyze your campaign trends and conversion rates and make adjustments as you're going along. All right, so we have one more Marketing Technology Minute planned thus far into the new year. So January 15th, we're going to go through the same cadence, and we're going to talk about lead scoring. And we'll compare those same 3 tools again and how they handle lead scoring within it, and also talk strategy and best practices. So I'm going to wrap up and hand the baton back over to Julia to wrap up today's call.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that presentation, Jodie. It's always wonderful to see that in action with the demos. Before you go today, as a reminder, please take the survey you will see pop up at the end of this webinar. It will help us bring you more of the content you want to see in 2019, and will only take a few minutes, if that. If you missed it in my intro, we did record today's presentation, and we'll be sending everyone a link to access it on demand. That will be coming from @ledgeviewpartners.com. So once again, be sure to add this to your Save Senders list if you haven't already, so you have no trouble clicking the replay button and or sharing that with your colleagues. As a marketer, you may be interested in joining our Marketing Experts group on Facebook. We'd love to have you join us to share insight, tips, best practices, and more. You can do that when you visit facebook.com/LedgeviewPartners and click on our Marketing Experts group under the Groups tab. All right, and as a reminder, once again, the 3rd webinar in this series is happening on Tuesday, June 15th. You can already sign up for it when you visit our website at ledgeviewpartners.com, and as Jodie said, we'll be focusing on lead scoring that time. And that is all from us today. We'll let you get back to your days here, and our Ledgeview Partners family wants to wish you and yours a happy holiday season. We'll see you in 2019.